Hybe saw Sserafim getting dragged through the mud for their bad singing and was like, wait, what if we make people feel bad for judging literal trained singers who cannot sing by showing clips of them doing their job but with sad piano music? Well, the bad news is, the master plan failed miserably. Every adequate person who watched it laughed at it, and I genuinely cannot blame them. Because hate comments and bullying aside, why do you want me to feel bad for literal singers who cannot sing and still make millions using a loud backtrack? Not to mention the fact that they chose this job, knowing exactly how tough the industry was going to be. Like, please be serious for a second. Sakura chose to be an idol 3 times in a row and has been singing professionally for 13 years. Why would she go down that path if she knew she couldn't sing? And if she did know that it wasn't her strong side from the beginning, why is she trying to guilt trip us into praising her now by crying on camera at the ripe age of 26? I'm genuinely baffled, but unfortunately, it wasn't the only baffling thing about this documentary. Hybe literally sabotaged themselves by pulling footage of them overworking the Sserafim to the point of exhaustion and loss of identity for the sake of fitting in. Showing a 17-year-old Yoonchae nearly fainting on stage from how overworked she was only means she has more on her plate than she can handle. And we all know who's in charge of filling the said plate with endless schedules and promotions. So why should we feel bad when it's Hybe who's in charge of their activities? Maybe if they brought in more variety in the schedules, by increasing the singing lesson hours instead of focusing on dancing and facial expressions solely, things would be better. Like Yoonchae wouldn't get hate for being a bad singer, and she would also get to rest a little in between the dance practices. It is their job, and I do not understand why would I pity adults who chose it knowing how it would be. But Yoonchae made the choice of being an idol at the age of 13, which we all would agree is too early. So I genuinely feel bad for her and only her. However, seeing the rest of the members complaining about their idol lifestyle and saying they often wonder how their lives would be if they were regular non-celebrities really caused mixed emotions in me. On one hand, I understand that being under a magnifying glass can be very stressful, but on the other hand, they have privileges a lot can only dream of. Like a very tight friendship among one another, a very supportive staff team, access to guidance and help, and most importantly, the privilege of being international superstars. If you truly love music and your job, shouldn't the hardships be worth it? I saw so much hesitation from everyone but Yoonjin when it came to loving their job to bits. All I saw was millionaires, complaining about having to work and be famous internationally. They literally have fans who defend their Coachella singing even their own mothers wouldn't defend, and you want to tell me they wish they had the freedom to go to festivals with friends? Isn't the luxury lifestyle you live while touring the world with your best friends making a ton of money not enough for you?
Was the 95 not enough for you?
Oh no, but the hate they get stresses them out so much. Maybe it's because they just know a lot of critical comments have a point, and that's what stresses them out. Sserafim, just like any other celebrity, gets a ton of undeserved hate comments which I do not condone, and which their company deals with legally and very strictly. But a lot of critical comments they get also make perfect sense, and it is no one's responsibility to sugarcoat their obvious mistakes and turn a blind eye to them. Most of them cannot sing live, and it is no one's fault but theirs. Maybe they should suck it up and go seek improvement instead of complaining about it. They aren't hurt because the comments are bad. They're hurt because they know the authors are mostly right, and so do their fans with a savior complex. That's why they spend hours defending their faves online with no avail. But to go back to the original point, I genuinely didn't see outstanding passion for music and performing within them. They just talked about how they enjoyed getting love from the public and how they had the most fun when they were around their fans. But not one of them spoke about how much they loved doing music and how big of an impact it had on their lives. I feel like the job they're doing is like a 9-to-5 for them. They just show up, do enough to not get fired, and additionally complain when they have to do extra work, maybe because it is not their passion. I got the impression that their favorite thing about being idols is getting love and attention from people. That's why it matters to them so much what the people say. Because in the end of the day, that's what they're focused on the most. The feedback from their fans and general public. It genuinely seems like they chose this path for that very reason, and realized it wasn't that easy to get love and praise in such a competitive industry, so now they're disappointed, because it's not as simple as they thought it would be, and because they're also left with contracts they cannot terminate, and the only job they somewhat know how to do. They're just young women navigating life, and I feel somewhat sorry for them, but I do not see people who appreciate what they have in life and how lucky they are to have such a loyal fan base, as well as all the privileges their work brings. I think if I was a fear not, I'd feel genuinely disappointed in my faves' lack of enthusiasm for doing better as artists and the skepticism they look at their jobs with. Not to mention how badly they react to constructive criticism and how their first thought is to make people feel bad for them, instead of locking themselves up in the studio and working on being better singers until they're satisfied with themselves. To sum it up, this documentary only made me want to criticize the Sserafim more than feel sorry for them, which was a massive miscalculation on Hybe's side. Once again, all I saw were singers who make millions using Backtrack, complaining about the amount of criticism they get for not being able to sing live. That's all for today. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my takes on this in the comments.